Around 4.4 million years ago, Earth's climate was very different from what we experience today. This period falls within the late Miocene to early Pliocene epoch, a time when the planet was gradually transitioning from warmer, wetter conditions to cooler and drier ones. However, in many parts of Africa, especially Eastern Africa, there were still lush forests, woodlands, and open savannas. These environments were rich in biodiversity and hosted many early mammals, including the first ancestors of humans. Unlike the modern deserts and dry plains of Africa, these ancient lands were teeming with rivers, lakes, and thick vegetation. The weather was more stable and humid, providing a suitable habitat for early hominins like Ardipithecus ramidus. These early creatures did not yet walk fully upright, but their environment allowed them to move both on the ground and through trees. Forested areas gave protection from predators, while open spaces allowed for the gathering of fruits and hunting of small animals. This shift in climate played a crucial role in the evolution of early humans. As forests thinned and grasslands expanded, our ancestors had to adapt, learning to walk upright, use tools, and cooperate in new ways. The environmental changes of this time were the foundation for human survival and development. Ardipithecus ramidus is one of the oldest known human ancestors, dating back approximately 4.4 million years ago. Discovered in the Afar region of Ethiopia in the early 1990s, this species provides a crucial link between modern humans and our more primitive ancestors. The name Ardipithecus means ground ape, and ramidus means root in the local Afar language, signifying that this species lies close to the root of human evolution. Ardi, the nickname for the most famous specimen, was a female who stood about 4 feet tall and weighed around 110 pounds. Unlike modern humans, Ardi had long arms, a small brain about the size of a chimpanzee's, and grasping big toes suited for climbing trees. However, one of her most significant features was her pelvis and limb structure, which suggests she could also walk upright on 2 legs, though not as efficiently as later hominins. Ardipithecus lived in a woodland environment, which challenges the earlier belief that bipedalism first evolved in open grasslands. This discovery proved that early human ancestors began walking upright while still spending significant time in the trees. Ardipithecus ramidus gives scientists valuable insight into how and when humans began to separate from other primates in both behavior and structure. Life 4.4 million years ago was challenging, and early humans had to adapt to survive in a wild, untamed world. The earliest human ancestors, like Ardipithecus ramidus, did not live in permanent homes or villages. Instead, they found safety and shelter in the natural features of their environment, mainly trees and caves. Trees played a major role in their daily lives. These early hominins were partially arboreal, meaning they still spent a lot of time climbing and sleeping in trees. Trees provided a high vantage point to avoid predators like large cats and hyenas, and they also offered access to food such as fruits, leaves, and insects. At night, staying off the ground was essential for survival, especially before the discovery of fire. In areas where caves or rock shelters were available, early humans likely used them as temporary protection from weather, rain, and danger. These shelters were not decorated or modified like in later prehistoric times, but they provided much-needed safety during storms or when traveling across open terrain. These early humans were nomadic, moving frequently in search of food and water. Their homes were whatever the land could offer at the moment: shade under a tree, safety on a high branch, or the cool darkness of a cave. In the early days of human evolution, long before the invention of agriculture, survival depended on hunting and gathering. During this time, men and women had different but equally important roles in providing food and maintaining group life. These roles were shaped by physical abilities, natural instincts, and the needs of the small nomadic groups they lived in. Women were primarily gatherers. They collected fruits, berries, nuts, seeds, edible roots, and leafy plants from the surrounding forests and grasslands. Gathering was a dependable source of daily nutrition because plant-based food was easier to find than animals to hunt. Women also kept a close eye on their surroundings while collecting food, watching for signs of predators or danger. Their detailed knowledge of the land helped the group avoid poisonous plants and identify seasonal foods. Men, on the other hand, often took the responsibility of hunting small animals or scavenging from larger predator kills. These hunts were dangerous and required cooperation, stealth, and strength. Sometimes men worked in pairs or small groups to trap or chase animals. Although their tasks were different, both men and women contributed equally to survival. There was no strict hierarchy, only teamwork and shared effort. This division of labor laid the foundation for social cooperation, something that remains essential to human society. Even today, the use of stone tools marked a revolutionary step in human evolution, even as early as 4.4 million years ago. While Ardipithecus ramidus may not have created advanced tools, the very beginnings of tool use likely started around this time. Early humans discovered that certain stones could be sharpened by striking them against other rocks, creating edges that could cut, scrape, or pierce. These primitive tools were not like the well-shaped hand axes seen in later periods. They were simple, sharp flakes or chunks of stone that served basic purposes, cutting meat, cracking bones, or stripping bark. Even this limited tool use gave early humans a major advantage. It allowed them to access parts of animals that predators left behind, such as marrow inside, bones or meat close to the skeleton. Hunting with tools at this stage was less about weapons and more about processing food. However, some sharper stones might have been thrown or used to injure small animals. Over time, early humans learned to choose specific types of rocks, like obsidian or flint, that broke cleanly and held sharp edges longer. This early experimentation with tools laid the foundation for future advancements. It encouraged thinking, planning, and sharing knowledge within groups. Tool use not only improved their survival chances, but also played a key role in the development of human intelligence and culture. Around 4.4 million years ago, early humans had not yet discovered how to control or create fire. This meant they lived without cooking, warmth from flames, or protection from wild animals at night. Life without fire was harsh and full of challenges, especially when it came to food and safety. Without the ability to cook, all food had to be consumed raw. Early humans ate uncooked fruits, leaves, roots, and even raw meat when they could hunt or scavenge it. Eating raw meat came with risks. It was harder to digest and could carry harmful bacteria. Yet, their bodies were more adapted to this lifestyle than ours today. Their strong teeth and powerful jaws helped them chew raw food, and their digestive systems were more tolerant of bacteria and tough materials. The absence of fire also meant no light during nighttime. Darkness made them vulnerable to predators, especially large nocturnal animals like saber-toothed cats or hyenas. To stay safe, early humans likely stayed in trees or caves after sunset, grouping together to reduce individual risk. This fireless period in human history shows just how resourceful and resilient early humans were. They survived not with technology but with instinct, adaptability, and cooperation skills that would later help them thrive once fire was finally discovered. Long before villages and cities existed, early humans lived in small, tightly connected groups. Around 4.4 million years ago, these early communities usually consisted of 10 to 30 individuals, often made up of family members or close relatives. Living in small groups wasn't just a matter of preference. It was a survival strategy. Life in the wild was full of danger. Predators, harsh weather, and food scarcity were constant threats. In a group, individuals had a better chance of spotting danger early, protecting each other, and sharing food. These early humans didn't have language as we know it today, but they communicated through facial expressions, body language, and basic vocal sounds. Cooperation became a key to survival, and with it, the first forms of social life began to take shape. Within the group, roles were often shared. Some would gather food, others would watch over the young, and the strongest might scout for danger. Disputes were likely resolved with gestures or submission, as the idea of complex rules or leaders hadn't yet developed. However, the foundations of empathy, sharing, and group loyalty were forming. These small groups were the early seeds of human society. They laid the groundwork for language, culture, and emotional connection traits that would later define humanity. Even without advanced weapons or tools, early humans were surprisingly clever when it came to hunting. Around 4.4 million years ago, the ability to observe and learn from the environment was one of their greatest strengths. Early hunters didn't just chase animals blindly, they carefully studied their behavior, movement patterns, and habits. These early humans would have watched herds of animals over time, noticing when they grazed, where they drank water, and which paths they used most. By doing this, they could predict an animal's next move. This allowed hunters to set up ambushes or slowly approach without being seen. Some animals moved at certain times of the day, and early humans adjusted their strategies based on this knowledge. Because they lacked powerful weapons, they often targeted young, weak, or slow animals. They may have also used natural traps, chasing animals toward cliffs, dense vegetation, or water bodies where escape was harder. Sometimes they would follow predators like lions or hyenas and scavenge what was left behind after a kill. This behavior wasn't just about survival. It was the beginning of strategic thinking and planning. These simple but intelligent tactics helped shape the human brain, encouraging memory, teamwork, and problem-solving. Over time, these early strategies evolved into complex hunting methods. But it all started with observing and learning from animals. In the hunter-gatherer lifestyle of 4.4 million years ago, gathering plants, fruits, seeds, and roots played a critical role in daily survival, and women were often the primary gatherers. While men might have gone on risky hunts that could fail, women provided a more consistent and reliable food source through foraging. This gathering role was not only essential for nutrition, but also for group stability. Women developed deep knowledge of their surrounding environment. They learned which plants were safe to eat, which ones were poisonous, and when certain fruits or roots were in season. This understanding was passed down from generation to generation, often taught through observation and hands-on experience. Their ability to identify edible plants also included understanding medicinal uses, giving early humans basic healing remedies from nature. As gatherers, women often moved in small groups, carrying children on their backs or watching over younger members while collecting food. This allowed for social bonding and knowledge sharing among the group. Their routes would often be repeated daily, allowing them to monitor changes in plant growth, animal activity, and environmental shifts. The work of gathering wasn't easy. It required walking long distances, carrying heavy loads, and constantly staying alert for predators. But it was essential. In many cases, gathering contributed up to 70 to 80% of the group's daily calories, making women's role absolutely central to survival. Life 4.4 million years ago was fraught with danger. Early humans faced numerous threats from wild animals and the natural environment. Predators such as saber-toothed cats, large hyenas, lions, and other carnivores roamed the same territories. These fierce animals often hunted the same prey as humans, and occasionally saw early hominins themselves. As food. To survive, early humans had to be constantly vigilant. They learned to recognize the sounds and signs of predators nearby. Staying in groups was crucial. There was safety in numbers. They also used natural barriers like cliffs, rivers, and dense vegetation to evade danger. Sometimes climbing trees was the only way to escape. Natural disasters such as floods, droughts, and storms also posed threats. These events could destroy food sources or force groups to migrate to safer areas. Moreover, competition with other animals for resources sometimes led to conflict. Without tools or fire to defend themselves, early humans relied on their keen senses, agility, and social cooperation to face these challenges. Their ability to adapt, avoid danger, and work together was vital for survival and helped shape the evolution of intelligence and social behavior in human ancestors. Around 4.4 million years ago, early humans primarily hunted small and medium-sized animals that were easier to catch and posed less risk. Large game hunting was not yet common, as early hominins lacked advanced weapons and cooperative hunting techniques seen in later periods. Small mammals like rodents, rabbits, and young antelopes were often targeted. These animals were abundant, provided a good source of protein, and required less energy and risk to capture. Early humans might have also hunted birds, reptiles, and insects, which were easier to catch and provided essential nutrients. Scavenging played a significant role as well. Early humans would follow large predators like lions or hyenas and collect leftover meat and bones after the kill. This strategy allowed them to access high-calorie food without the dangers of hunting large animals directly. Additionally, aquatic resources such as fish or shellfish from rivers and lakes were valuable. While evidence is limited for fishing at this stage, it's possible that some early humans exploited these sources as part of their diet by focusing on smaller, more manageable prey and scavenging. Early humans maximized their food intake while minimizing risk, a key survival strategy during this period of evolutionary development. Although fully developed language had not yet emerged 4.4 million years ago, early humans had begun to communicate using basic sounds, gestures, and facial expressions. These early forms of communication were vital for coordinating activities such as hunting, gathering, and warning each other of danger. Instead of words, they used simple vocalizations like grunts, cries, and calls, each carrying specific meanings understood by the group. For example, a particular sound could signal the presence of a predator, a food discovery, or a need for help. Body language also played a crucial role. Movements like pointing, hand gestures, or changes in posture helped convey intentions and emotions. Facial expressions were another powerful tool. Fear, anger, happiness, and submission could be clearly communicated without speech. These expressions helped maintain group cohesion and social bonds, reducing conflict and encouraging cooperation. Gradual development of these communication methods laid the groundwork for more complex language systems in the future. It also reflected increasing brain size and cognitive abilities, showing that early humans were evolving not just physically but socially and mentally as well. Around 4.4 million years ago, early humans began forming deeper social bonds that went beyond mere survival. Cooperation and empathy were essential traits that allowed groups to thrive in a challenging environment filled with predators and scarce resources. Cooperation involved working together during hunts, sharing food, and protecting one another from threats. Even simple acts like helping injured group members or caring for the young strengthened social ties. These behaviors increased the overall chances of survival, as individuals depended on one another more than on individual strength alone. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, likely began to develop as early humans lived closely together, caring for sick or weak members, comforting distressed individuals, and responding to emotional cues helped build trust and loyalty within the group. These early social bonds formed the foundation for complex human societies. They encouraged communication, group decision-making, and the creation of shared norms. Over millions of years, This empathy and cooperation evolved into the intricate social structures and cultural practices we see in humans today. By 4.4 million years ago, early humans were undergoing significant physical and mental transformations that set them apart from other primates. One of the most important physical changes was the development of bipedalism, the ability to walk upright on two legs. This freed their hands to carry tools, food, and even infants, giving them new advantages in mobility and survival. The structure of their pelvis and spine evolved to support this upright posture, although their walking was not as efficient as modern humans. Along with bipedalism, changes in jaw size, teeth shape, and facial structure indicated a shift in diet and lifestyle. Smaller canine teeth and changes in muscle attachment suggested less reliance on aggressive behavior and more on cooperation. Mentally, early humans were starting to develop greater cognitive abilities. Their brains, though smaller than ours, were becoming more complex, allowing for improved problem-solving, memory, and social interactions. Tool use, planning for hunts, and the beginnings of communication all reflect these mental advancements. These physical and mental changes were deeply connected. As their bodies adapted to new ways of living, their brains followed suit, laying the groundwork for language, culture, and the incredible intelligence that defines humans today. The hunter-gatherer lifestyle of early humans 4.4 million years ago laid the essential foundation for the development of agriculture and settled societies thousands of years later. By living off the land, hunting animals and gathering plants, they developed a deep understanding of nature, seasonal cycles, and resource availability. This knowledge allowed early humans to recognize which plants could be cultivated and which animals could be domesticated. Their nomadic lifestyle gradually shifted as they began to settle near reliable food sources like rivers and fertile land. This change reduced the need for constant movement and opened the door to farming and animal husbandry. The social cooperation, division of labor, and communication skills developed in hunter-gatherer groups were crucial for organizing larger communities. These early humans learned to plan, store food, and share resources, all of which were necessary for the success of farming villages.